welcome everyone to our first edition of Marriage Goals with Coach B and Sheree. And yes, we bring 32 years of marriage experience, 3 adult children, been through almost everything a marriage can go through. You name it, we most likely have been through it. Thank God we don't look like we've been through. Have you heard that? So in this episode, we want to talk about the power of 5 A's. And the A's are acknowledgement, admire, affirm, appreciate, and my favorite, and Brian's favorite, is apologize.
Why you say that?
Apologize. We don't get there. That's why that one's last. And how these seem simple, but they could really impact your marriage. Because if something's big to somebody, that's a whole nother topic. It might be big to your spouse and small to you. But if we can incorporate these 5 simple things into our marriage on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, I think it would take it to the next level.
So like create a habit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what had happened was I was writing some notes, and so my husband, he wants to have a seamless conversation, so he's going to ad-lib off the notes. So I'm not really 100% sure what he's going to say, but I know what I'm going to say. All right, so explain what we mean by acknowledge, admire, affirm.
Well, I'll tell you, it took a little time for me to kind of start to understand. Of course, we know what acknowledge means, but there's times when you can get into marriage, and sometimes you can get kind of comfortable, and then your habits, you get used to kind of just like the run of the mill, and you kind of can forget, what brought you guys together for the first time, and what kind of sparked the fire, right? And so day to day, run of the mill, you might start forgetting to, hey, acknowledge. You might be on the phone, your spouse may come in, and you may be like, oh, hey, or hello, or something to that effect. So for me, what it means to acknowledge, it means that I see you. See, she has to help me out here.
Okay, wait. Let me do the 5. Acknowledge, admire, affirm, appreciate, apologize. So acknowledge, I see you. Admire, I like what I see. Affirm, I see who you are and who you're becoming. Appreciate, I see you and I say thank you. And apologize, I see you and how I've hurt you. So now, acknowledging your spouse involves recognizing and validating their presence. This goes beyond just seeing them physically. It's about showing that you value their existence within a relationship. I see you. So go ahead.
Of course. So the way I would handle that is like I was saying, I was letting you guys know sometimes you can forget to do that with your spouse, and it becomes just like a habit. So we need to really make sure that we start recognizing and what that means to see. So a few things I jotted down, which is actually is it means that I'm going to intentionally make sure that you know and understand that when you enter into the room or when you come into my space, that I see you, right? I see you. And I'm going to stop what I'm doing, and I'm going to acknowledge that you're here, that your presence is here, because your presence is valuable to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be acknowledging, and I had to actually, sometimes, like I said, you have habits, and your habits become bad, and it's just because you get used to doing the same thing over and over again. Well, I had to start working on a habit like that to replace that, because my this is my better half, so it's important to me, and it's important that she knows that. So I see you.
So I was thinking about when I was writing notes too is if you guys have dogs or if you have toddlers, and then when either the husband or the wife comes home, the toddler is running to the door, oh daddy, oh mommy, they don't care about the day, they don't care about anything, I just want to like see you and be with you. And then you have your dogs don't care. They don't care about your credit, they don't care about what outfit you wore, they don't care if you stink. Yeah, and then we were talking about, I used to not understand how people would be homeless and have a dog. And don't judge me. But until we got a dog, I could see how if somehow I was homeless, that's the first thing I would have is a dog. Because they don't care. They don't care if you're homeless. They don't care what kind of house you got. They don't care. They just love you. And when you come in, they acknowledge you. They see you. They see you. Your toddlers, your kids, your babies, they see you. And they don't add anything to it. So another thing that we do as far as like acknowledge, we have the Ring camera. Sometimes that Ring gets you in trouble. But we have the Ring camera, and we have the alert on our phone. So when it goes off, we can't do it all the time, but I would say about 90% of the time when someone comes up or drives up, we try to greet them at the door. And I know when my husband leaves in the morning, we greet him. We open the door, make sure he's out. We say bye. My daughter, she comes down. I don't care how asleep she is, 4, 5. If when I was going to the gym at 4 a.m., she will be here wiping her eyes, acknowledging me. She will not let you walk out the door without saying, bye, have a good day. And so when we say I see you, you were talking about picking up your phone early in the morning and sometimes not even acknowledging God. You just pick up your phone and seeing what.
Yeah, it gets the first touch. So, we get into these habits, and I think we forget, and we got to be careful about that, because what it's really saying, it can really say is that this here is more important than the space that I'm in right now.
Right.
So we have to learn to be present with our surroundings, and if your home and your family is important to you, then you should show that by acknowledging that. And that's whatever that thing may be at that particular time should be secondary. And I think that is great to acknowledge, because the time that we live in nowadays, everything is moving so quick. Everything is so busy. It's a lot of noise, and people are grinding and trying to get things done. But you got to circle back and say, well, what is the whole reason that I'm doing this for anyway?
Right.
What is this? What am I doing this for? So I'm doing it for my family, those who I love, those who I want to make an impact on. But the most important thing is I believe that they understand that and know that, like, hey, you see me. So we acknowledge each other like that.
Yeah. And so that's it's so simple, but if you're at the grocery store and you see there's a line and you have $200 of food and you want to be checked out, and you see the manager walking by and you see employees walking by, only one register is open. You're like, hey, you don't see me? You don't see me standing here? Am I not important? What I have in my bag is not worth, me spending my money here. You're not acknowledging me as a customer. And so, it's kind of similar in marriage. It's like, hey, you don't see me? You didn't see me sitting here on the couch when you walked in, because you're on your phone. And so setting up some simple routines to say, just like in the morning, unless I'm on a call, and sometimes I'll get off my call because I have an accountability call we both do in the morning. And if he's leaving, I'll try to get off my call and go to the door. But if I'm not on a call, if there's nothing going on, we always greet each other when we're leaving and when we come in. And so does my daughter, because you don't know if that's your last time seeing that person leaving or coming. And so we greet. And so that's something that you can do. Pretend like you the doggy, pretend like you the toddler, and greet with no extras. Hey, I'm glad to see you. That's it. Not, hey, I'm glad to see you, but this bill over here. Hey, I'm glad to see you, but did you stop by the store? But I'm glad to see you, you know. So the second one is admire. So I like what I see.
Like what you see, I like what I see.
Admiring your spouse involves complimenting their physical appearance, again, and expressing your attraction to them, making your partner feel desired and appreciated.
Yeah. So I like to say admiration for me is is I just admire my wife when I see her how um, she goes she does her job. Um, she takes care of the household. She takes care of me, and out of all those things, she still continues to do the things that are necessary uh, with her company and her business. And I admire that because she really, as a matter of fact, even what we're doing right now, she really loves to pour into people, and she's poured into me, and she's poured into so many people. She has, she set up her goal setting system, her goals journal, and these marriage goals that we're doing right now. Um, they're in place because we know that bad habits will creep in to a relationship. And if they get stuck there, then it becomes organic in a bad way. So, in order for us to curb those things like that, we have to put some things in place to replace those bad habits. We have to replace them with good ones, right? So, these marriage goals are very important. And for the admiration part, I know I went off a little bit, but that's what I admire about my wife. I admire the things that she do, and I'm not going to overlook that. I'm going to make sure that she knows that because she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to do that. So I admire that, and yeah. So
Okay, and so admire kind of specifically complimenting appearance, complimenting, and then you want to be in a space where you can be complimented. I know one thing that's a little challenging is sometimes when I'm around the house, I'm tired, I want to relax, and and sometimes I'll put my hair a certain way or do something a certain way, and then you realize you're not looking your best. And so I had my daughter buy me these little head wraps, and so now I try to at least put my head wrap on, put my earrings on, let me spray myself, so I don't look, so I can look like someone who wants to be admired. So a lot of times we'll see those dresses or we see those outfits in the store and we're like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. I like that. This is mom. That could be, we could keep that same energy when we are complimenting our spouse. Like, hey, you look good in that. Hey, I like my husband's beard. Sometimes he doesn't like the beard because I guess it's itchy or whatever. But I love the beard. So whenever he has the beard, I try to compliment. And then when he shaves, I don't remember. So he's like, hey, could you tell I shaved? So just like admiring, saying, hey, I like this. I like your outfit. I like your lipstick, things like that. And because you want to make sure other people will compliment. So make sure you're the first to compliment in your marriage.
yeah, you want to set that foundation at the house, right?
Right.
So you have to. Yeah, you just keep it at the house.
Right. Number 3, affirm. Affirming your spouse means acknowledging not only who they are, but who they are becoming. So affirming, like, what he does a lot, because I do my videos or I'm writing books or I'm working on a project, he'll come and say, hey, that was a good episode, or that was a good workshop, or I loved your workshop, oh, this is a bomb book, or I liked, I'm writing a book, note to self, and he's like, oh yeah, I like that, you need to hurry up and get that out. And so it's good to have, affirming who you are now, who are you becoming. If your husband or your wife is in sales, or maybe they're a beautician, or maybe they're a teacher, hey, you're a good teacher. Your students are good to have you. Or you think about your kids how we affirm our kids and not affirm our spouses. It's like when your kids are trying to ride a bike or when they're eating for the first time or they're learning how to walk, you're like, oh, good job. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, you got this. You can do this. Or yes, you can. Or when they're riding their bike, you're cheering them on and you're walking beside them and you're cheering them on and you're saying you can do it. We can have more of that too in our marriages. Just saying, hey, good job. You can do it. Hold on a little bit. I'm right here, next to you, affirming you for where you are. Riding the bike and where you're going to be once you start riding the bike. You're going to be able to do it on your own, and I'm here with you. Right. So affirming,
being conscious and paying attention. Yeah.
Yep.
So I have all of that you just said with the affirming, but I wanted to say this too. I want to add as far as affirming. And as we said before, when we were talking about these 5 A's, a lot of times they will interconnect, but for the sake of what we're talking about, we're trying to keep them separate, right? But so also affirm to me is like I'm seeing your growth. Like I'm seeing that I know some of your struggles that you may have, right? And then I start to see you change and say, hey, I want to correct this, and then you start working on that. And it's not always perfect because it is it's a journey, right? But just the attempt and the effort to try to start changing, I know there's some, raising kids. Sometimes you may have different issues with them, and you say, hey, maybe I'll try it this way the next time. Normally, I wouldn't do it like that. My old me might would have came off a certain way, right? But so my affirming too is just to say, hey, I remember you would have done something like this, but now you've changed and you're doing it better. You're trying to work it out. So just basically things that are difficult, but yet you're courageous enough to try to change that. And I'd like to affirm, that's affirming as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 4, now we're getting through this pretty fast, huh?
Yeah.
Even it's only
you can talk pretty quick.
I know. I'm trying to slow down today. I'm talk fast when I'm by myself. Number 4, appreciate. I see you and I say thank you. And sometimes, so share. Appreciating your spouse goes beyond recognition. It's about genuinely valuing and expressing gratitude for what you see in them. And so we could get, like, sometimes my husband will wash my car, and even though I'm grateful and I intend to say thank you, I might forget because maybe he washed it earlier in the morning. I haven't seen it yet. He hasn't told me because maybe he wants to surprise me that I get in. And I'm like, oh, my car's clean, but I don't say thank you. So after maybe 4 or 5 times of that, you could be like, okay, I'm not washing her car no more. Not him. Because she never knows that I'm washing it anyway. She doesn't say thank you. So sometimes, and it might be genuinely, hey, I was going to say thank you, but I forgot. So maybe in the times when and if you forget, but you notice, jot it down. Here's a tip. Jot it down. Hey, don't forget. Hey, go on your watch and say, hey, don't let me forget to tell Brian thank you for washing my car. And it seems small, but those are the sometimes are just things like if you're taking out the trash and I'm like, well, you're supposed to take out the trash because that's what you do. You're the man, or you're supposed to make the food because that's what you do. You're the female, or you're supposed to, it doesn't hurt to just say thank you real quick. Hey, thank you. He thanks me a lot for cooking. I cook. He's like, oh, thank you for cooking. And I'm like, okay, thank you for eating.
Some people don't get that.
So he'll just, say thank you for cooking, and I'll be like, okay, because in my head, I'm thinking when I'm getting home, okay, I gotta cook, or I gotta cook, or I gotta cook. But just to hear that, thank you.
Well, and another thing is that going along that path is like, I believe that we're here to serve each other. And I don't think that we should be trying to keep record of this and that. It's like if we're building and we're trying to grow and we're trying to get to a certain point, then who needs to be doing little knick-knack stuff like that? I mean, we're like at some point it's like you're running a corporation and you need everything firing correctly so you can get to where you're trying to get to. Because if you're starting to divide things up, I mean, you have to have a foundation. If you're trying to build a house, we need to be stepping together. And if there's some issues with that, then we need to try to figure that out and talk about it. But yeah, so
All right.
yeah, showing that appreciation that speaks volumes. And I think even when you start the foundation at home, you can take that out and you can actually be able to speak to people out in the workplace or wherever you're at and treat them accordingly. Because I mean, it all starts at home. It all starts in the family. Because sometimes, you can if you leave home irritated, then you'll probably be irritated out in the world, right? So, just trying to build a safe place, right?
Right. And then last but not least, apologize. I see you and how I've hurt you. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Express that you made, express that you're sorry and that you made a mistake. Do people even apologize anymore? We were talking about that the other day. Do we apologize or do we just
That's a good question.
I don't know. Sometimes we buy things in place of apologizing and be like, oh, well, I'm sorry because I did that. No, you should apologize. I was wrong. Or maybe you weren't wrong. Maybe you said it wrong. Maybe you said it at the wrong time. And so just apologize.
Yeah, that's another episode.
That's a whole other episode.
To talk about when you should discuss things and the timing to discuss those things.
Yes. So I had some.
I wanted to say something else about apologizing.
Mm-hmm.
Apologizing. I'm good for. I'm sorry, but. I'll just say that I'm sorry, but I've learned that if you're sorry or you want to apologize, I just leave it there and then discuss it later. Because even if you win, it's not really a win. As I just mentioned earlier, if you're trying to build, it's like, oh yeah, I won. You was wrong. I was right. See, I told you that. I mean, that really still doesn't get you anywhere. So.
And when you say but, it just erases everything you said before it. So if you're sorry but, then if you're sorry but, maybe you should wait. I'm sorry, you should wait on that. So I'm in concluding our 5 A's. I wanted to. Where's my notes? Our 5 A's: acknowledge, I see you. Admire, I like what I see. Affirm, I see who you are and who you're becoming. Appreciate, I see you and I say thank you. Apologize, I see you and how I've hurt you. I'm going to post these up too so that you guys can have them. And we're going to start putting some of the resources and some of the notes. So putting it all together, I remember, before the pandemic, we were boss coaches at our church. And when the kids would enter the room was always ready, by the way. Kids didn't walk into the room and we'd be like, okay, sit over there. We don't see you. Or, when it's time, we'll acknowledge you. No one entered the room until it was ready. And each person that entered the room was greeted at the door. We said, a handshake or a hug. How are you? You are loved and appreciated. Welcome them into the room. So each kid who entered was acknowledged at the door. It was expressed to them that they were loved, and it was expressed to them that they were appreciated. And when they walked in, it was prepared.
Right.
And so it changed. I wouldn't say it changed the atmosphere of the room. We didn't have an opportunity for the atmosphere to change because we created the atmosphere that we wanted to happen. And so in marriage, if you could do the same thing, keep the same vibe, like appreciating, reminding that person you're loved and appreciate, preparing the space for conversation. We eat dinner, and sometimes, we're just tired. We're busy. We do a lot of things. But I do try to, when I make dinner, I try to make dinner like we're at the restaurant. I'll put the candles on. I'll have, our nice plates, and I'll have our drinks. And I mean, not drinks, but I try to set it up to say, hey, this is my family. And I want to serve you like you're being served at a restaurant. Because I want you to feel valued. I want you to feel appreciated. I want us to feel loved. So you can do small things in your marriage to keep the energy alive, right? I let me stick to my notes. But
it's the little things, right?
So we hope that you enjoyed. This was our first time, and this was actually our first time teaching together. We used to teach a daycare. We used to teach in church ministry, but never together on marriage. And so this was kind of big for us. We kind of wanted to have a conversation.
It's a big deal, huh?
Yeah,
it's a big deal for us.
It is. So I'm excited. So I hope that we guys can. I hope we guys. I hope that we could. And this is hard for me because I'm trying to slow down. I'm usually like this.
And I'm just the opposite. I'm just like.
So we want to
balance out the middle, right?
We want to take up space in the real estate of social media. We feel like there's a lot out there. There's a lot of advice, and this is not advice. This is just
add some value.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to add some more, to add something to your marriage toolbox. And hopefully there'll be good conversations. And if you have any questions, if you have any, it's called marriage goals. So goals that you should set in your marriage. It's not marriage advice. We're not telling you what you should do, because what your husband likes is going to be different than what my husband likes. What my husband thinks is respect might be disrespectful to somebody else. What I feel, I'm not all women. So I don't want to be referred to generally like all women like this and all women want this. That's not necessarily true. So that's not the purpose of marriage goals. The purpose is to share some resources with you, to share some tools with you, to share some experiences with you, to give you some different options. Again, 32 years, we've been through everything you could possibly go through. And so we feel like it's time to be able to, bring something to the table to offer to our couples who, just want to have a conversation about marriage.
Yeah. And hopefully you'll be encouraged and know that, there are couples that are still trying to thrive and still not just like throwing in the towel. There's resources out there. There's people that you can talk to. And hopefully, as I said, you be encouraged and get a little inspiration to see that, marriage is still alive and well. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but I don't think it was supposed to be perfect. I think there's a lot of fantasy that comes with marriage. But this is supposed to be about commitment.
Right.
And it's supposed to be about building. And marriage will make you, if you're open to that, marriage will make you a better person, because the person that's close to you will become like a mirror. If you can take it constructively, and if you can get to a place where you're talking to each other, where you're trying to help each other out and not taking it away where you just feel like you're being criticized, but to help each other out and to grow as a unit, that's what will help you move forward.
All right. Yeah. Well, I saw some comments, and I'm not able to. I see that there are comments, but I'm not able to comment or see them. So we have to figure out on our next episode how to either bring the comments on the screen, or maybe I can have somebody else log in so they can see the comments. But I apologize if you guys commented and I can't see you or comment back. So we'll try to figure that out in the next episode, and maybe we'll kind of come on and practice comments. I know there's a way, and I think there's a way you can even bring them up here so people can see them. And that way, if you guys have questions or anything like that, we can do that. But tonight we can't because we're streaming live on a couple of different platforms. And so there's some people are watching YouTube, some people on Facebook, some people are live on Twitter. And so I can't see the comments, so I apologize. But next time. But I will go through, and if I see any comments that need to be addressed, I can do it, after. But thank you guys for joining us. This was kind of big for us. We did it. We made it. We made it through.
Yeah.
All right. So remember the 5 A's. I'm going to post it up and maybe kind of create some kind of document that you guys can download and keep in mind as you interact with your spouse during the week, that you acknowledge them, that you admire them, that you affirm them, that you appreciate them, and that you remember to apologize. Apologize. All right, you guys, have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Now I got to figure out how to. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.